Hi Swapna, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Can you tell us something about yourself?
My name is Swapna. I have 2.5 years of experience in both manual and automation. Coming to my roles and responsibilities, my roles and responsibilities are understanding the user stories, and after understanding the user stories, I write test scenarios and test cases. Mm, and we use project management tool Jira. And for automation, we use hybrid driven framework, which is a combination of both data driven and page object model.
Mhm.
Mm, and we use TestNG for creating test cases. And for extent reports and for reporting, we use extent reports. And from for data driven testing, we use Apache PY. Mm, and we use Maven as build tool. And
Okay,
for defect management, we use Jira. Mm, that's all about me, sir.
that's all. Okay, so how much experience you have with automation?
Automation, I have 1 year of experience.
Mhm. So how would you rate yourself in Java? Let's say 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. How would you rate yourself in Java language?
6.
6.
Mm.
Okay, great. So now let me share my screen. Yeah, so you need to tell the output of this program. Okay,
Okay, sir.
yeah. So let me bring it in one. Yeah, are you able to see the program?
Yes, sir.
Okay, shall I? Yeah, it is visible,
Mm.
right? And these are the
Mm.
4 options. So you need
Okay,
to
sir.
tell, yeah, what will be the output of this program.
Okay.
Hmm.
Sir, we will get runtime error, sir.
Runtime error. Can you
Hmm.
explain why so?
Here we are overriding the get data,
Mhm.
but the access modifier we used is less than the public.
Access modifier
We,
uses.
we can increase the access modifier, but we cannot decrease it.
Okay. So runtime error is your final answer, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So now I'll tell you the correct answer. See, correct answer will be C. Compile time error you will get. Why? Because
Okay.
yeah, you are trying to override a method of superclass,
Hmm.
right? So, so none of the above 2 options are not valid. That is true. But over here, you are going to get error, and the error will be compile time error only, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now let's
The
look at
reason,
other program. Yeah.
reason,
Yeah. Reason okay. Let me show you again. Hmm. See, when we are trying to override a method of a superclass, so we have 2 classes here, right? One is derived, one is base. Okay, we are trying to override a method of a superclass here, right? The method declaration in subclass cannot be more restrictive than that declared in the superclass, right? So you will get compile time error here. Okay, now let's look into the another program. So can you tell me the output of this program?
we cannot access that x and y variables, sir, in the class main. because they are protected.
Yeah. So what
We
would be
can
the
only
output of
access
this
those
program?
variables.
Yeah.
What, sir?
What would be the output of the program? Will you get error or will you get some value?
We will get error.
Error.
Mm.
Why?
We cannot access the protected variables from another class. If it is derived, then we can access.
See, a protected member is accessible in all classes of the same package, right? It's not like the private. See, so output will be 0, 0, right? This will be the output, and here is the explanation. A protected member is accessible in all classes of the same package and in inherited classes of the other package, right? Here, inheritance is not coming into the picture, but it is just for explanation, right? Since test and main, so this is main class, this is test class, they both are in the same package, right? There is no access related problem in the above program, right? So it will be initializing the variables value as 0. So you won't get any error. You will get 2 times 0. Correct.
Okay.
So this was about Java. Now, okay, what are strings in Java?
Strings are non-primitive data types.
Okay. So any
Strings
yeah, please go ahead.
are immutable.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot change. Once we define the string, we cannot change that value.
Okay. So is the behavior of a string same as an array? Array of characters, is the behavior of the string same as that of array of characters in Java?
Array of characters.
Are both these things same? Are the behaviors of both same or not?
No, I think.
Okay. See, what are strings in Java? So strings are nothing but those are type of objects. Yes, those are data types that can store the character of values, right? Every character in Java is stored in 16 bits, right? So you are using 16-bit encoding. And the behavior of the string, it will act the same as an array of characters in Java, right? Now, how will you create a string?
String s is equal to string in double quotes.
And is it possible to create using new keyword?
Yes, sir.
Right? So you can create strings by 2 ways. One is string literal, right? And one is using new keyword. Okay, what is the difference between string builder, and string buffer?
String builder is synchronized and string buffer is non-synchronized.
Okay. Any other difference that is coming to your mind? That's it. Okay, so let this be an open question for the people who are watching this video. What is the difference between string buffer, and string builder? Okay. Okay, which are the different types of access modifiers in Java?
Private, public, protected, and default.
So can you explain one-liner explanation for
private? If the methods and variables are declared as private, then it will be accessed inside the class only. And if it is defined as public, then it will be accessible all over the project. And if it is defined as default, then within the package and the class extended it, we can use that. And public, protected default means within the package, and protected means outside the package and the class which extends it.
Okay, See, when you say public, so it is a widest scope, right? So if you declare public, that means it can be accessed. The classes, methods, or data members that are declared as public can be accessible from everywhere in the program. There is no restriction, right? In case of private, you can access in the same class, but you cannot access in the different package, non-subclass or subclass. In case of protected, everything is fine, but you cannot access them with a different package and non-subclass, right? And default, as you mentioned, you cannot access in different package subclass. Right. So that is there. Okay. Now, which are the different exceptions that you have got while doing automation?
No such element exception. Element click intercepted exception. No such window exception. No such alerts exception. And stale element reference exception.
Okay. So you were mentioning that you have worked on a data-driven framework, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you read the data from an Excel file? How do you fetch the data from an Excel file? Can you write a code on that? I'm giving you screen sharing rights. Yeah.
Using XSF row and XSF call.
Right. So is it possible if you can share your screen and write the code? How will you fetch the data from some Excel file, some data?
Sir, I'm not aware of that. Actually, I have forgotten the code.
Okay. No worries. So in a data-driven framework, you will be reading file. You will be reading some reference file from where you will be reading the data, right? So you can write a code. So in this real-time interviews, you would be asked such kind of questions. You will be asked to write the code. Okay.
Using file input stream, we read that. And we have to create this file object and file input stream. You have to pass the file into the file input stream object.
You will be using Apache POI.
Yes,
right?
Apache POI.
Yeah, that we will be using. You will be creating an
You have
object.
to add dependencies of Apache POI in pom.xml.
Correct. Then after adding the dependencies, you will first mention the path of that Excel file. Where is that Excel file, right? Then you will be writing the code of getting rows of at which particular row and at which particular cell value you are trying to retrieve, right? Similarly, for n number of cells you will write, right? And then you will have those kind of data fetched. So let me share my screen. I'm showing you a code which you can write. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
So import statements are fine. Those things will be understood. When such question is asked, you have to write this kind of code, right? Public static void main. What is the path of the file, right? You will create an object of file input stream that you were mentioning. You're able to recall. That's a good thing, right? You'll create an object of workbook sheet, and then you will read the values. From what cell, from what row you have to read values. Like that, you will be proceeding further, right? So in a real-time interview also, you can just write import statement ... right? And it is very important that you should be able to write such kind of code, right? Okay. Okay, what is frame in Selenium?
In web page, once we cannot access the frame elements directly. We have to switch to that frame to access the web elements.
Right. You will have to switch to. But what are frames? What are frames? What is HTML frame? What is iframe?
Frames, there's no idea.
No worries. See, frames in Selenium, it will refer to HTML frames, right? Those are used to divide a web page into separate sections, right? Each with its own HTML document, right? So those are frames. And is it possible to automate a frame or iframe using Selenium?
Yes, sir.
Mhm. So how
We
will you
have to
do
switch
that?
to that frame.
Mhm.
Driver dot switch to dot frame. We can give frame name. Then we can switch to that frame, and we can access that using
Okay.
XPath.
Okay. So using frame name by name, you are telling you will be accessing that particular frame.
Hmm.
Is there any other approach that is coming to your mind apart from that option?
Frame ID.
ID. Then
Frame name, frame ID, and also frame ID. Web element.
see, there are three ways that you can access a frame. One is by ID. You were mentioning it right, by ID or name, by index, and by web element. Okay.
Hmm.
There are three things that you have to remember. Okay. What are the different commands in Git that you are aware of?
Git.
Git. You don't use Git?
Git.
Yeah.
We use Git, sir.
Use it. Okay. So,
Git add,
mhm,
Git pull, Git push, Git clone.
okay. That's
That's
it.
all.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Fine. So how will you resolve conflicts? Let's say you have checked in one, you have updated one of the page, and simultaneously your team member has also updated one of the web page. Oh, sorry, one of the code in some particular page. So how will you resolve those conflicts?
If me and my team member change the same file at the same time, and if we push the code into that remote repository, central repository, then we will get the conflicts, merge conflicts. We can resolve it by um, it will shown as like symbol.
What kind of symbol?
Okay. We have to remove that code and we have to keep any one's code, then it will be resolved.
Yeah, it will be resolved. But what will you do?
We will remove that code. Mm,
Which code you will remove?
that symbol.
Yeah, yeah, you can take your time. Try to explain the things. You have used Git, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So take your time. Mm,
Slash symbol type.
mhm. Okay. See, what you can do is whenever you are getting conflicts, you can open both the files, right? And you can compare them. So automatically you will be showing some sort of colors in that. Green color will indicate something, red color will indicate something, right? Based on the color changes, you can collaborate with your team member. Ask him or her what was the requirement that he or she changed, right? uh, so it is very important that you both are on the same page, right? And it is also important that none of your hard work is getting um, ignored here, right? So open both the files, right, and compare them, right? You can also create a new commit, right? So after editing the file, you can use git add a command to stage the new merged content, right? And then the final step is to create a new commit with the help of git commit command. Simple. Okay, now what are the different types of testing that you have done so far? I'm asking from manual testing point of view. Which are the different types of testing that you have actually done?
Smoke testing.
So when do you do smoke testing?
After receiving the bill, we first perform smoke testing.
Mm-hmm.
We perform smoke testing to make sure that build is stable or not.
Mm-hmm.
After the build becomes stable, then we perform sanity testing, a basic and critical functionality,
Okay. What else?
and regression testing,
Mm.
retesting.
Retesting. Okay. Then
Mm, functional testing.
functional testing. Okay. What do you do in functional testing?
UI related issues we test here.
UI related issues or entire functionality you will be testing?
Enter functionality we have to
You'll
test.
be testing, right? So you will be testing end-to-end functionality, whether it is working as per the requirement or not. What else you will test? Oh, sorry, what other testing you have performed so far?
That's all.
That's all. Okay. Have you performed non-functional testing such as performance
No,
testing,
no, sir.
security? Nothing. Okay. Did you perform um, alpha testing or beta testing? Did you perform?
No, sir.
No, you don't perform alpha testing or beta testing?
I didn't perform.
Okay, fine. Okay, now let me give you one scenario. Okay, so this is a scenario-based question. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now there are only two members in your team. Okay, and the code has been deployed just 2 days before the end of the sprint. Right? Code. It's not US, it's code. Right? The other resources are absent. So two members including you, right? So you can say one member apart from you is there in the team and he or she is absent. Now you have to manage the work. So how will you manage the work? Because there will be a lot of test cases, right? So how will you execute? How will you ensure that quality is not getting compromised?
First, I will do my work. I will execute my test cases, and um, after that, I will see his or her test cases, and based on the priority, I will execute.
Okay, what kind of priority you will see?
Based on the priority of the test cases.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you will not execute all the test cases.
If there is time, then I will execute. But
Mm.
first, I will execute the P0 and P1 priority test cases.
Okay, P0 test cases you will be executing.
Mm.
Great, great. So this is how you will be managing the work. You will be executing the test cases of P0, P1, high priority, right? And
Yes.
if time permits, then you will take care of the rest of the test cases. And at the time of sign off, when you will give the sign off, right? So you will mention clear cut that so and so test cases has been executed due to the unavailability of the other person, right? That's how sign off you will give. Okay, so that was good. What do you mean by retrospective meeting?
A retrospective meeting will be done after the completion of the sprint.
Mm.
In that meeting, we discuss about the problems we faced on that particular sprint, and what are the changes can be made for the next sprint. what are the improvements.
Hmm.
If you want to improve anything, if you want to tell anything, then we can tell in that retrospective meeting about any improvement or changes. If you want, then
Hmm.
we can tell. Mm,
So in a
and what are the
retrospective,
problems we are facing in the previous sprint also, we
right,
can
right,
mention there.
that you can mention. So during retrospective, you will discuss what went well, what could have done well, and what did not went well, right? So improvements, as you mentioned it correctly, improvements, suggestions, feedback, collective things that you will have from everyone in the team, developers, QAs, project managers, business analysts, scrum masters, and then you will come up with a improvement kind of a checklist for different pointers and the action items for each point and who will be owning what point. So we'll have action item, we'll have owner name for that particular action item, who is responsible in the future to ensure that this thing does not takes place, right? So this is about retrospective meeting. Okay, Swapna, I am done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
Feedbacks.
Feedback. So manual testing is good, right? You have to work on practicing writing the code during the interviews, right? As I had asked question on Selenium code of reading the data from an Excel file. Similarly, you can get questions on Java programming or coding level of questions, maybe reversing a string, identifying whether the number is palindrome or not. Such kind of interview questions will come. So you will have to practice doing that thing. Second thing is the output of the Java programs, right? You can revisit few of the concepts and then you can prepare accordingly, right? Rest all looks good, right? And yeah, so that's it. Wish you all the best for your career.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.